Good evening. Welcome everyone. So, first I'd like to start with a prayer, and please join with me. Om Nazinam Darajinu Nube, Tajijujino Jubayi, Sangejutangi Duba. Kuna Chazeta Chatajisho, the major president Nugu, Chambejin Bagarabadamba, Kunongumboji. Lumbudrabazara Bedane, Simjatum Jalagun to Bebe, Ism the Bazar of Trouble, the Tinzum de British. The Varjaba Gala Jazalo, Jambation of Potento Jise, Cherizum, Bebe, say Nibud. Mgeni Baba Jogunuzan, Ube the Jebega Nojida, Nubu the water in my Chasarum. Chajus and Bagala Chazalo, and Jinda Jota Jisirgino, the Jumbos are young, Gomana, Nina, and Double. Minujas and Wanjagolo did, and Jenta Jagacha, and Jay, to do you watching Jima, with a wood. Trashila Mogala Chazalo, Sebastian Bottijang Sumabo, Mcdonald, and Yelpo Yugozo, Pajugodan. Nam to Zella Zogolo down to Shola down the Hondo Jose, be watered to shooting it in the Sasumnazo. She didn't go on Yala Chazalo, Dajit in their Chawazumbala, get on your words about. Get on your words about Kunjini to the baby some division of Dashidin. Daja Tinder Jawazumbala, get on your words about Kunjini to the baby some division of Dashidin. Daja Tinder Jawazumbala, get on your words about Kunjini to the baby some Dashi de Lepusum so parashu. Balin Sevella Marimbuchi, Dagaja or permit. Got in Chimbegone, Jisung, Kuzun, Tuging wood of Zaldus. So tonight is meditation practice. So I'd like to talk a little bit about meditation first of all. What is meditation? Why we need to do meditation practice? And the benefit of doing meditation practice. I think meditation is generally a part of spiritual practice. Number of tradition, not only Buddhist tradition, Hindu tradition, ancient Hindu tradition have meditation teaching. Like in Greece, Orthodox Christianity, Mount Athos, I believe, is an island where only the monks dwells, and they also do meditation practice. So, since the ancient time, people have been just trying to discover basically who they are. Meditation teaching is basically trying to discover who we are as an individual, where we came from, and who we are. I think that's basically the question. And of course, there are different philosophical approach. Some may say we came from the creation of the Creator, such as in the Hindu tradition, one would say the Bhagavan is the Creator. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, God is the Creator. Islam, Allah is the Creator. And according to the ancient, most oldest religion would be shamanism. Shamanism says sun, moon, trees, bodies of water, those are the creator. So it's like trying to discover that's where I came from. I was created by, according to one's belief, I was created by that. Therefore, here I am and who I am. So that's all right. I think it's a very genuine question, and we all need to seek who we are. There's no question about that. There's no argument about that. But I think we need to keep in mind that if we have to discover who we are, then we need to be totally open without trying to hide behind a mask. Play the dualistic game and trying to hide away from the real truth. And I think it creates a genuine openness. It takes in a person genuine openness and a genuine unbiased mind. First of all, you need an unbiased mind, not taking sides, whether it's theistic or non-theistic or whatever it is. To be totally open-minded and seeing the situation by investigating deeper who we are and do we exist as a person we identify. And if we do exist as a person we identify, does it have a change or it doesn't have a change? If there is a change to that identity, then that identity cannot be eternal. It's subject to change. If it's subject to the change, it doesn't have a ground reality base where the identity of a self can be sustained as an eternal level, as a permanent level. Because if it can sustain eternally, there would be no aggression, there would be no struggle within us. We will always feel very comfortably. But there's a lot of problem with our own personality. We like some part of our mind, emotion state, identity. We don't like some part of our mind. So, which one are you going to say is more real, the good part or the bad part? In fact, both the good and the bad are more expression or creation of conditioned phenomena. So if both are subjected to condition, your positive emotion, identification of that, your negative emotion, identification of that, is subjected to conditions, because you can't have an emotion without conditions, isn't it? You need to have a lot of, for example, for you to get angry, for example, you need a subject, you need an object, you need many factors. Finally, you find the reason why I am angry. Same thing with attachment, same thing with jealousy, same thing with everything. All our mental thoughts, projections, emotion are subjected to conditions. But we take that condition identity so real that we think it's permanent, we think it's everlasting, we grasp to that like it's eternal. The fact that it's changing all the time. If it's eternal, it shouldn't change. But it's changing. What you feel about this person in the morning, you don't feel the same thing in the evening. That means it's subjected to condition. If it's eternal, it should be unconditioned. Never change. It should be the same. White is ever white, black is ever black. Green is ever green, blue is ever blue. So we know that there is no such thing as blue unconditionally. Blue is also a lot of chemicals put together. So many factors makes it appears like a blue. It appears like a red, it appears like a black, it appears like a white, but in essence, there is no inherent white or inherent black or inherent, same thing, all our emotions and thought, inherently devoid of its identity. But it doesn't mean there is no identity at all. If we are to say there is no identity, then the world will be chaos. There will be no communication. You can't say this is good, you can't say that is bad. That is not the question. It's not the question we are saying there is no bad or there is no good. The question is how we see that. We go unnecessarily try to make something which is conditioned, impermanence by nature, trying to make that so real. And that's where we get stuck. That's where we get limited. That's where we feel our world of aggression, world of conflict, world of afflictive emotion, and because of that, a lot of suffering comes from that ignorance, that confusion. Unbalance, something not able to see clearly. It's not that we have to fight against, the mountains or the sea or the ocean. It is innocent. Even whatever you see, all the senses, objects, sounds, sight, smell, it's innocent. How you look into it, how you cling to that, that's what makes it appears either like a deity or like a demon. It's not something it exists on the external factor, but it rather exists in how you perceive that. For example, one person can be a god or something so caring and loving, but the same person seen by others could be like a demon. We call that she's like a witch or he's like a demon. But that demon can be a god to somebody else, and for another person could be a demon or something in between. And that also the same person who see that as a demon may see that as a god at some point. So it's constantly changing within our own, how we create our mindset. And that shows that our mindset, the way we try to look, doesn't really have a strong basis of reality deep inside. But we always we feel afraid if we don't hang on to something. I think that's the fundamental neurosis. That we feel afraid to strip off. We feel afraid to see it directly, but always try to make something up. Make a story, hide behind a mask, try to, Tibetan word is called do-kur. Do means put a feather on it, add something up and make it like a little bit of some dramatic situation. So we lose the fundamental quality, its basic brilliance or basic openness, but always trying to create something. And the problem is, behind that wall, always you are dependent on some kind of notion of something so real, which actually doesn't freeze you, doesn't deliberate or freedom doesn't come, because you always feel that you need to hang on to some identity more than it is necessary. As I said, it's not the problem of identity of a particular emotions or even the notion of self, the notion of person, notion of things, but more than necessary, you are going out, putting more energy. That's where you get trapped, where your life becomes complex, afflictive. We call afflictive emotion. What is the cause of our suffering? The cause of our suffering is not something harmonized, but the cause of suffering is afflictive emotion. That's what brings sadness, pain, suffering, depression, and confusion. It keeps maintaining a particular set of awareness, in this case a confused awareness, and that it keeps feeding itself. And it needs to be keep feeding itself, otherwise it cannot survive. So then, always one remains in a bewilderment. Life becomes always hard, doesn't know how to relate with one's emotion, doesn't know how to relate with one's cell and one's projection, one cell and one's emotion, one cell and one's thought. Always there is some dualistic conflict. Never where you can just relax or breathe out and just be who you are. It's almost feel impossible. Hopelessness. That only thing that you could think about, let me think of something else to relate with a particular emotion. And then one emotion trying to suppress another emotion, and that emotion trying to suppress another emotion. Always we are like, we are taking refuge, our refuge in a particular identity, and always afraid of losing some kind of fundamental identity. That if I just open up, then the fear of survival. I may not survive, I may not be there, or I need to identify with something. And that ignorance, that fundamental sense of survival, that fear, is what we need to look into it. That's the practice of meditation. In practice of meditation, you need to be, totally open, and various different methods of meditation introduced, such as investigative meditation, to your thoughts, where your thoughts begin, or if there is a thought, how is the thought? Where did it begin? Where is it now? Where is it going? And what shape it has? Investigative meditation. And then there is simple breathing meditation, being on the spot, whatever thoughts, projection arising, you're not trying to adulterate, no adulteration, but rather living it as it is, and then discovering the insight, living it as it is. Living it as it is, you discover the insight of that awareness. For example, it is said, if you go on a beach, and if you shake up the water on the beach, then it will get very stirred up, get very muddy. So our thoughts are like that. We create, in order to overcome or get rid of one thought, we bring so many thoughts. And we muddied our mind so much that we get totally lost. We don't know how to handle and how to deal with our mind. So what you do in meditation, the way to deal with the mind is not to add more spice or more salt on the wound, which is burning, but rather leave it as it is. So in that case, the example of the water on the beach, instead of stirring it up, you just leave it. So what happens? When you stir it up, it gets very muddy. When you leave it, all the dust, sand, everything settles down by itself, and you see the clear water. Same thing, the mind has a natural goodness, basic goodness. It just begins to manifest, which goes beyond the neurosis or fear of survival. The fundamental neurosis of fear of survival. It is that fear of survival make us crazy to go here and there, like, mindless. It's almost like cat is chasing its own tail, going around. We are chasing ourselves, trying to see oneself, but actually one is seeing it the wrong way. So it's like chasing oneself. So the way to do in practice of meditation is to let it settle by itself. So in the meditation teaching, it explains how do you work with different kinds of thought, bad thoughts versus good thoughts. Are there any special method for the good thought, more special than how do you deal with the bad, or does the bad has a more special method than the good? No, both are equally the same. it says, neither do you reject the thoughts, nor you wander after the thoughts. You don't anticipate the future. You don't go back to the past. You are here and now, and being totally open without judging your mind. That's how you, if you use the word purify, you purify your emotions, you purify your thoughts, and in fact you liberate all thoughts. Because all thoughts has the potential to be liberated. Why? What is the cause that we can liberate the thoughts? Because they don't have inherent identity as such as we hang on to. As we know that all thoughts are conditioned, so conditions have no inherent quality. If it doesn't have an inherent quality, that means it is free fundamentally. But somehow we're afraid to come to that. Either we didn't hear how to work with the mind, or we are afraid, always, hiding behind a mask. But at least now when we sit, we're being honest and truthful and not afraid to see oneself and just sit. And then both thoughts, good or bad, are equally treated where they're just a play of your mind in meditation. So you don't say, oh, this is a bad thought, I need to get rid of it. If you try to do that, then a lot of problems will arise. And some say, oh, when you have tried not to think of anything, meditation teaching is block the whole thing. That is not the right kind of meditation teaching. If you try to block your mind, suppress your mind, it makes your mind stupid. And if you go after your thoughts, run crazy, that's like chasing the tail. You can never catch the tail. Does the cat ever catches the tail? Never. It just moves around. Same thing, we are trying to catch ourselves in that pattern, going after the thoughts and trying to grab. And we can never. It's just like a distraction. So way to deal with the thoughts is just allow no aggression. Meditation practice is basically when you deeply, finally, or as you do your practice, you will experience an absence of aggression, because fundamentally there is no aggression, in the essence of our mind. That is why. The aggressions come in the wrong notion of conditioned thoughts that we are so habituated, not in essence, but habituated, that we get so caught up in to deal with the world in a particular style, and that's where all our aggression, fear, all those comes. In fact, it is the fear, the way fear brings its partners, the conglomerate of fear is aggression and jealousy and all. Without that, it cannot survive. The fear needs, in order to survive itself, all those instruments. So there is no wisdom, there is no gentleness, there is no compassion, there is no soothing. Everything is so rough. Because it's rough, we call that afflictive emotion. Afflictive means which can rub, and it's painful, and it can create injury, it can bleed you, it can create wound, and it can finally give you pain, and probably you could be dead by infection. So that's how, the afflictive emotion causes that kind of injury, of bewilderment, not able to transform that, not able to see its basic goodness. But at the same time, don't think that basic goodness exists apart from your emotions. Some people say, oh, here is hell, there is heaven. Or earth and the heaven, we say. Or good versus bad. But actually, good and bad is the same, different sides of one coin. One side is the head, one side is the number. One coin. Same thing. That particular emotion, a neurotic emotion, an afflictive emotion, whatever we use the word, its essence is devoid of any inherent quality, mean devoid of that conditional projection. We cling to that. It's not as real. Because it's not real, therefore you can forgive someone. Therefore you can move forward. Therefore it changes. It never can stick. One emotion, did it ever happen to you in your life where you feel, cannot forgive or couldn't let go? It may took you a while. It may took you a month. It may have taken you maybe a few years to overcome a particular emotion problem or forgive. But at some point, it just withered out. Either through your practice of meditation, so much faster, or, as we say, time heals. Why do they say time heals? Because it's fundamentally, if it's rooted out, the identity is so real, time cannot heal. The time is basis on our habit, how strong habit we have, how much we hold on to that. So as the habit get lesser and lesser and lesser, then we label that time. Or time heals, is withered out now. But actually, it doesn't have any negative grounding, even right at that very moment. How much crazy we go through in essence, how much craziness, how much aggression we experience at that momentarily is hollow in essence. It's like that, for example. It has no inherent quality because that particular emotion is subjected to subject and object, a duality, which is when it's subjected to duality, it is dependent. Dependent means no independent. Dependent means devoid of independence. If it's independent, the word dependent would never ever take place in the existence of the universe. If things are not interdependent, then why is the word interdependent came into this world? There is no place for dependence if things are independent. If things are eternally so real, there is no place for interdependence. We know even this in the Einstein theory of relativity. Relativity means is dependent, interdependent. Relativity never means it's independent. We know time is relative. We know, in fact, everything in life we do is relative because they're subject to change. Our emotions are relative. Our places are relative. Our country is relative. Our economy is relative. Our military might, when it's strong and it can go down, is relative. Everything in the world is relative. So we are trying to make a relative phenomena, trying to brand that as something so eternal. And when things changes, we feel offended, we get angry, we feel, how dare this changes? We never expect this. I've given you so much, I've spent so much time and energy in my own focus of whatever I believe, and now it's changing. My relationship is changing, my job is changing, and there's so much anger. We couldn't accept the fact that things are impermanent. Things, in essence, are quite different than it seems to be. That's where the aggression builds up. There's no sense of gentleness. There's no sense of compassion. There's no sense of liberating. Everything seems dark, cold place, painful place, no hope. It's almost like hopelessness we experience. But actually, in that hopelessness, we can see the answer. Answer is right in that aggression. you look deeper, you can find the essence. That's what it meant in the higher Vajrayana teaching. It says, passion contains wisdom. Without passion, there is no wisdom. It means the essence of the passion is wisdom. We're not saying the aggression itself is wisdom, but the essence, which is devoid of any reality, that is where you can transcend. It has a quality, brilliance, intelligence that it can transcend. So very interesting. Everything is in your mind. It's right there in your mind. You don't have to go look for outside, like heaven somewhere. Heaven is right there. For some, it can be hell. For some, it can be heaven. It's all up to you how you relate to that. So the point for us, since fundamentally there is no being who do not want happiness, we are all equal to that. And since because there is basic goodness, according to Buddhist teaching, very much focused on basic goodness. The reason is that is the reality of every mind, basic goodness. Is the absence of aggression and absence of neurosis. So therefore, fundamentally, since everyone has, as long as there is a consciousness of mind, it is a basic goodness, absence of aggression. Therefore, we all have the right of happiness. We all can experience happiness. We all can achieve happiness. We all can transcend from this confusion because of that possibility of inherently devoid of any aggression. There's no aggression inherently. It's the confused perception which creates the world. And we feed that. The way we couldn't get out of it is we're feeding that. We're feeding that fear. We're feeding that the sense of ego, the sense of aggression, the sense of self-centeredness. Keep feeding that, and we are never able to look at ourselves. In fact, we are trying to look at ourselves when we're feeding that. You see, when we bring aggression, we think it's good for me. When I bring jealousy, it's good for me. When I make a war, it's good for me. But it turns against us, in essence. So that's why one should really look deeper. And one of the way of looking deeper is the practice of meditation. How you sit, focus with a very simple method, focus with the breath. And then, no matter what thoughts coming, you're not fighting against them. They're not your enemy. You don't have to regard your thoughts and emotion as your enemy, but rather they are just part of your mind, in which, if you leave it, it very much can liberate, and you will find harmony right there. It's not turning against you. You know, the way, if you go to a national park, it says, if you're in an area where there's lots of bears or wild animals, say, don't try to agitate the wild animal. If you don't agitate the wild animal, it's going to leave you peacefully. Same thing, don't agitate your mind. We agitate our mind, and the mind is turning against you. Your mind is becoming your biggest enemy. You don't agitate your mind. That's where you learn to harmonize, bring balance in yourself. And that is in the practice of meditation. Okay. So let's do a meditation now. Sit comfortably in the right sitting posture. focus your awareness to your breath, simply your breath. You don't have to penetrate, nothing hard. Just gently gently focus to your breath. And don't look for thoughts, nor you try to suppress the thought. Allow the thoughts and don't go after it. As I said, no, try to stop them. Just simply focus with the breath. Your mind is just with the breath. That's all. Allow the thoughts to come, whatever, but just go back to the breath. Okay? So that's how we're going to start meditation today. make sure when you do meditation, you're not daydreaming. Because when you close your eyes, if you kind of goes into some kind of absorption, and then there is called the subconscious gossip, that you're kind of lost like some kind of thoughts and imagination, and only when you wake up, oh, what happened? Like you're in a different place. It's called thief of meditation, thief of your awareness. That is a very dangerous one. If you get used to that, you can never wake up. You will never have a sense of wakefulness. And that's not good. So, way to overcome that, if you feel like drowsy, sometimes open the windows, wear lighter clothes. If you feel like not too much excitement, too many thoughts coming, you can wear darker clothes, and then it will bring the mind more settled, and warmer environment is better. If you feel like something you're absorbing your mind, that's not good, okay? So let's do again. This time, try to do with open eyes. Relax, you don't have to penetrate, just like 2-3 meters ahead of you. Totally relax and wake up, wakefulness. When you do meditation, you're dealing with the mind. Basically, you're learning how to deal with your life. In order to deal with your life, you need an awake mind. You cannot deal with the mind with a dormant mind. You cannot deal with your life with a mind which is absorbed into some kind of state. So when you close your eyes and when you meditate, the mind draws inside. It kind of absorbs into a space. And then you may feel like nothing is happening. It gives the artificial sense of some peace. But that's not, it cannot handle life circumstances. If you have to deal with a situation of aggression or things happening around your life, you can't deal with that. It will just shock you. So it's like dormant mind, sleeping cells, sort of. It's no benefit. The mind should be awake. Only a awakened mind, think about this, only a very awakened mind and a very awakened awareness can deal with habits, pattern of your thoughts. A dormant mind cannot handle habits pattern. It cannot have the ability to purify. It doesn't have the ability to deal with that. You see, that's why meditation needs discipline. You need mindfulness in meditation, and you need to have discipline. Then if you do the right way of meditation, then you can see the benefit rapidly happening in your life. Peaceful, absence of aggression, able to deal with life situation in a gentle, compassionate, and very skillfully, where you are able to help someone and also not put yourself in a neurotic state, and able to bring something very positive and transcending. But that can only happen with a wakeful mind, not with a dormant mind, not with an absorbed mind, not with a sleepy mind. Remember that. That's how meditation should be done correctly. If you do it correctly, you will get the right result. But if you do it wrong way, then no progress can be made in meditation. So that is something in how to do the practice of meditation. So traditionally, opening the eyes is very important. Only sometimes if you feel very difficult, then you can close the eyes. But that shouldn't be a habit. You know, I've seen a lot of people, when they meditate, close their eyes. It's not the right way, it's the wrong way of doing meditation. Because you shut your whole senses. You're afraid to open up. You're afraid. So as the more you draw inside, you can never relate with communicate with the outside world. How are you going to deepen, how are you going to work with your own mind thoughts? You're just trying to sleep somewhere. That's not the meditation, how it should be done. So now if you have any questions, we can have some question-answer period.
I just remembered about a quote I wrote, and I wonder if you can perhaps make any comments about it. It said, "Every single thing we ever experience is the effect of some cause, and this effect causes some other effect, which in turn becomes a cause."
Say that again, please. Every single thing.
So I said, every single thing we ever experience is the effect of some cause. And this effect causes some other effect, which in turn becomes a cause. Any thoughts?
That's about karma, cause and effect. So one thing leads to the next, and that, like a harvest, you put the seed on the ground, and then there's a fruit, and then again there's a seed. Unless it's genetic modified food, there is no seed. So the cycle of life, you see, cause every single thing, whether it's good or bad, it's come from a cause. But the point is, cause and effect in the Sanskrit word is called karma. The notion of evolution. Everything has its evolution, its cause, and its causes, is which gives the birth to the phenomenal world, our mental experience, our external world. The previous cause is the immediate effect is from the previous cause, and its causes, the chain cycle of that. But we need to cut the chain cycle of confusion, because confusion is as I was explaining earlier, like the chasing the tail. So it craves for the cat. Its causes, keep spinning around and around and around. And we see, looking from an intelligent point of view, it's completely absurd to chase one's own tail, which is unachievable, and it's completely absurd to do that. So same thing, many things are like that in life, that when one is subjected to a cause, which basically have no reason, but one just simply goes through that experience, like a dream. When you have a nightmare, nothing is happening beside your own mind. But you don't realize it's happening in your mind. You think something else is happening outside of your life. So you're fighting, you're sweating, you're going through a lot of stress and anxiety and fear in your dream. Only when you wake up, you think, oh, it's a good thing it's a dream, but it was unnecessary to go through the whole thing. Same thing. Now, is that cause, its causes, the effect we're getting, is that something reasonable? Is there something meaningful? There is some profound reason? There is no reason. It's just a confusion, confusion giving birth, effect of one confusion leading to the next and next, where we become when you look at our causes, the impure phenomena. Karma basically has impure phenomena. We are subjected to vulnerabilities. If we look at our own life, why we don't have compassion all the time, why we cannot all just be gentle, all just be compassionate, all just be transcending. Yes, we can say when we look into the nature of the very fundamental essence of all mind, it's true, they're all compassionate. It's true that there's absence of aggression, there's absence of neurosis, and what proves that there is an absence of aggression is because there's no inherent identity as such as we think, which I earlier talk about, generally I talk about it. So if we can come to that place, our awareness can come to that place, we all have fundamental goodness. So in that way, we are able to break the effect, the chain causes and cause, effect. This whole cycle of confusion chain, we need to cut through that. Otherwise, it's like no exit. It's like keep driving on and on. If you find no exit, it's going to make you crazy. So, you're again finding yourself in the same spot and keep going around. That's how life seems to be going on. Like, only change is happening in our life is a different lifestyle, but the same basic thing. Like, the saying, the different rug underneath, but another rug replacing. So back to square number one. We're always back to square number one. We're beginning something always in life. Except this time it's a different person, a different environment, but same aggression, same phenomena, same thing, same pain, same thing we're dealing with. So where do we find the exit? We need to find the exit. We need to stop that cause at some point. That's where the practice meditation starts to understand the mind, how the mind, as I said, you don't just judge taking side or external way to relate with the positive mind and something different approach with the negative mind. You just, because they're all the same as far as condition is concerned. And when you see how to, let go that, the very awareness has to manifest, and that can deal with the cycles, cause effect, that can deal with habits. Habits are continuity of cause and effect. Habits is nothing more than continuity of cause and effect. And in order to deal with that kind of habit, pattern, you need a very prajna in Sanskrit word, very intellect mind, very sharp, precise, able to cut through that. That we can bring it through the practice meditation, able to mind see. Then you find a balance, then you'll not get trapped. The person who is grounding or stability or some level of realization can handle the situation. So for example, before you practice meditation, and after some time of practice meditation, after like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, or whatever, difference of each person, the same situation which makes you kind of so difficult to handle, now not that difficult, the same situation. Your mind is more calmer. That external thing couldn't just like agitate you that much because your mind is more in peace, more gentle, more in balance. And then gradually you can totally transcend with the discipline and mindfulness. So therefore, the chain, yes, there is chain. For us to be totally free, we need to go cut through that cause and effect chain on the long run. That unless and until we couldn't achieve that, we will always be subject to fear, always subject to hope, always be subject to pain, always be subject to obstacle, always subject to afflictive situation. That's given, no way out. Just simply praying, may my pain go away, is not going to go away. Just simply wishing is not going to go away. You need to bring that out through your mind. And that only possible way is meditation practice. There's no other method to gain that.
Rinpoche, we have a question from Los Angeles.
Okay.
When is it appropriate to use mantras as opposed to the type of sitting meditation that we just practiced?
Sitting meditation, during the sitting meditation, there is no mantra. But to say that there is no mantra at all in meditation, that is also not correct. Because basically, you see, meditation, we call meditation and post-meditation, for example. Meditation is more like focus to your mind. And post-meditation is the effect of that meditation, how you deal with the situation. So the main point is, when you meditate, your mind is more aware. And then when you leave meditation, if you totally no mindfulness and let go of the whole awareness, then you will be again subjected to all problems again. You're struggling with dualities, dealing with afflictive emotion. The old pattern, habit pattern come in. Again, you're back in the square number one, old world, where it will shower you with all kinds of problems. So then Now you heard the word meditation into action, right? We hear the word meditation in action. In fact, you see 3 persons, let's say. One person who never does meditation, one person who does some level of meditation, and one person who is highly advanced in the practice of meditation, means someone who is grasp of their mind, someone who is lesser grasp of their mind, and someone who has no understanding of their mind. Just if the wind flows here, it goes, the leaves flow, goes there. If the wind flows there, the wind of the paper flows here. Just like totally no control, no grasp. So at the beginning, it is important to give yourself a discipline of practicing your meditation every day in your home, or like, going to a meditation center. Very important to work with a teacher. And you need a discipline. Basically, do it every day in your home. And then, as I said, once you, let's say you do, I like you to, when you, in the morning, if you do meditation, then the rest of the day, when you go out, deal with the situation, aggression is still there because it's your habit, still strong, but it's much less. Everything seems to work easier, just simply, generally, much easier, without much aggression. Something different, and you are much happier inside. You're more open, you're more playful, you're more humorous, you're not deadly serious, or everything is just like to the wall. So something seems to change, and that is, you can call meditation. I wouldn't say the perfect meditation to action, but the effect of your meditation is taking action now, how you experience the world and how you deal, and where you are being, either in a neurotic situation or in a very positive place, getting to a positive place. That is the effect of meditation. Now, finally, if someone has conquered that affliction and transcend that, then everything is not separate from the essence. So when the essence is fully realized, everything is the, you could say cosmic humor, cosmic joke. It's like you can see your dream, and if you know your dream, you're having a nightmare, that could be the most funniest thing ever. You can laugh at it, something like that. So therefore, instead of things turning against you, things become like complementary to you, regardless whatever is going on. Sight, sound, smell, taste. Then at that time, meditation into action is beginning. Then you can do mantra, is meditation. You can sing a song, is meditation. You can dance, it's a meditation. You can color something art, is a meditation. Because that awareness is always there. So it never gets stained by aggression. So something like that. Okay, very good then. Thank you all. Let's do the World Peace Prayer. Last page, please turn the last page. Thank you. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, merit, and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. In the world in general and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtues, qualities, merit, and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. in the world in general, and in this nation, may not even the names disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities, merit, and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly rise. Now go to the last. By this merit, may all beings gain omniscience, and thus defeat the neurosis and negative conduct which are our enemies. From the turbulent waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of existence, may all beings be liberated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you.
Just a few announcements. So Rinpoche will be in Denver next Thursday, so please come and invite your friends and family. And then he'll be going on a little bit of a road trip, going to do teachings in California and Oregon, and then he'll be back at the end of November. So we'll still be conducting Thursday evening meditations here while Rinpoche is gone, but please come next Thursday. And for those of you that are out of town, please look at our website. Our website will have all the updated dates and times of where and when Rinpoche is teaching.
Saturday 9 to 12, anyone who wants line cutting, we're going to cut.
So we're still conducting the statue filling project. So we're filling up, these are big statues behind us. We have a lot of small statues that students use for their own meditational aid. And downstairs we have a whole area that's set up to prepare for the statues to be filled. And so Rebecca is leading up this project. And so from 9 until noon, people will be doing cutting and rolling, and it's a cool little activity if you've never done it before. It's also, it gains a lot of merit to do it. It's a really positive action. So if you have time, please come and stop by, and we'll be in the downstairs room. That morning you have to be vegetarian. Talk to Rebecca if you're interested in volunteering. Thanks. Thank you, Rinpoche.